Kia ora everyone, hello. I'm going to show you how I do my research to create lead magnets. And you can repurpose those lead magnets and this research into many things. So I always start with what are the frequently asked questions of our customer avatar. So how do we find those? There are lots of different ways, but here is one way. I use a tool called Answer the Public. You'll see up the top here, answerthepublic.com. Go there, it brings you to the site. In the box, the search box here, I'm going to add search for the example of skincare. So I put skincare, I choose which country my customer avatar is in, which is, for the sake of this, is New Zealand, and then I click search. Now it's going to search and it's going to find the top questions. I'm going to pick out some of those top questions. So, okay, cool. We've got skincare, the top skincare top 80 questions. And you'll see them, they're all being categorized into how, can, which, when, and so forth. So these are the key top questions that out of Google, which means that's a globe. That's a massive amount of data. So these are the frequently asked questions that people are searching for answers for on Google. Underneath this is other data, but don't worry about that. We're only going to be focused on the first skincare 80 questions. So I'm going to look at the which or who questions. I'm going to look at those, which are all these ones here, and I'm going to pick out one. And one that I think my frequently asked questions that my customer avatars are most interested in. And I think it's this one here, which is which skin care is best for anti-aging. I'm going to copy that. Well, first I'm going to click into it. It's going to take me to Google. Now it's come up with the first page. I'm going to copy that question. So I'm going to Command C on Apple or Control C on a Mac. I've got this research sheet. And this is what I do is I find all the key questions and I'm going to put it into this box. So I'm going to find 2 questions for each. 2 for what, 2 for when, 2 for where. I'm going to click that in there, which I've added already in preparation. I'm going to go back to the Google page. Now, important things here, where it says add, don't worry about those. Those are advertising. People pay to have their products and services at the top. We're looking for, not that, we're looking for the organic search, not the paid traffic search. So what I see is this one here, this article, 22 anti-aging dermatologists actually use themselves. Okay, well, if they're using it themselves, then I reckon that's going to be really important. And then there's some others. So any of these pages would be really good to have, because they're going to have a lot of information that are relevant to that frequently asked question. So if we summarize, we've found the frequently asked questions that your customer avatar are most likely to be searching for. Now we've just found the answers. We can click into here, for example, and I cut and paste go up to the URL search bar at the top. I copy and paste that into my document. So I put it under Google, the Google column, and I click in, I put that in. Okay, so now I've got the Google search. The second bit of search I look at is YouTube. So I go to YouTube. You can shut that down. I go to YouTube. Boom. I put in that same question, which skincare is best for anti-aging. I search. Boom. Google pops up all these. I don't look at the products. I come down. I'm looking for the advice. When I'm looking at the advice, I first look at the years. The top one is 2 years ago. That's 11 months. Okay, 11 months is probably recent. So that is something that I'll probably have a look at. And I look at the views. Now, she has, 11 months ago, she's had 598,000 views. That's huge. That's a huge amount. And she's on page 1 for those search terms, which skincare is best for anti-aging. So I know that these are going to be great. Great videos and full of expert advice. I like this one. 7 months ago, this has got more views, 742,000. Okay, so I'm just going to click into that. I'm going to go to the share bar down here. I'm going to copy that and then I'm going to put it into my sheet. So boom, under the same question. Now we've got number 2. Then I'm going to go and find the podcast. So now I've done YouTube. Look for the podcast. So when you're searching Google for your podcast, the way to do it is to put your niche in your keywords first, and then the plus sign, and then podcasts. And I don't mean write the words your niche. I'll give you an example. You put skincare, for example. Okay, now you'll be able to see it up here. Skincare plus podcasts. If you were searching fishing, you would put fishing plus podcasts. Okay, and then up pops all these podcasts. And you've got a range of podcasts to search. Let's look at the top. Okay, this one stands out for me because it's got the date, again, 2021, the best 35 skincare podcasts to research. You click into that, boom, that takes us to this page. Now, these are all great podcasts. I would read down here and see what might be relevant to my audience, my customer avatar. Okay, tips. Okay, this looks good here. An explanation of this podcast. What I like about it says tips, ideas, information, homemade skincare remedies by an expert. Sheetal is a scientist in human genetics and the founder of a skincare range. Okay, great. Should be really interesting. I cut and paste the link to her podcast. So if we click into that podcast, it'll take us to here. Okay, and if we look at her podcasts, good. I would go up to the URL bar, the search bar at the top of the podcast. I would copy that. I would go back to our research document, and then I would put it in the podcast link. Okay, that's how I do the research side of things. Now, great. Now that I've got the research of those tips, what do I do next? The next thing is you're looking for answers to those questions. I would go through and I would look at and work my way through the podcast, the YouTube stuff. I would listen to it and I'd skim it. I wouldn't, muck around or anything. So to give you an example, I would go to the skincare podcast, and always in the description, sometimes they have a really good description. And to see, it says, if you're looking for a natural ingredient that can heal, revitalize your skin, look no further than castor oil. Okay, that's interesting. I think my customer avatar would be interested in this. Castor oil has been used by Ayurveda for thousands of years to great effect, both internally and externally. While it is thick and viscous, it is easy to learn how to utilize castor oil so that it isn't cumbersome to apply it and uncomfortable on your skin. Okay, that's great. What I would do, that's a really good description as a lead-in or as an introduction to your customer avatar about this podcast. So I would highlight that whole copy. I would copy it, Control or Command C. I would go back to my document and I would paste it in. So now if you look at it, by going through that process, I have the frequently asked question, I have an introduction to the podcast. And the way that I'd use it is when reaching out to my customer avatar or building my tribe, and I would look for, say, Facebook groups, and in the Facebook groups you might hear or find people asking questions about skincare and anti-aging. So what I would do is say, hey, I've done some research and I found some amazing podcasts, and then I would cut and paste this into a message, the soundbite that I've just copied over from the introduction to the podcast, and say, here's the introduction, and then I put a link. Hopefully this helps. And so just by adding value like that to someone else creates a relationship and a conversation. Now you can have a conversation with that person later on, follow them up going, hey, how was the podcast? Did you enjoy it? What did you learn from it? And then you eventually have this conversation building out your tribe, and it's an easy thing to do. It's free. It hasn't cost you much money. It's, I did this in maybe 10 minutes. I found, some huge value. So that's it. You've just got to do more of that. The other thing about this is you can turn this information into a ebook. You can take all the tips and all the advice that you've got now captured and turn it into an ebook, put all the links to the podcast, turn it into a PDF and give it away as a lead magnet. Or you can repurpose it and put it into an ebook and put a price on it. Sell it for $27. Make it look nice and well designed up and add more information to it. And you can sell it for that. So there are many ways to carve it up, but the key bit is getting all the information into one area. The other thing I like about this is not just that it creates lead magnets for you, but you also learn and get a deep understanding of your subject matter. So it positions you as an authority figure. You're educating yourself about the thing that you care about, the industry, whether this is beauty, skincare, whether it's fashion, whether it's jewelry, whether it's services you provide. It doesn't matter. The same application applies.